Welcome everyone to a return to Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks. This is in the closed beta, and once again the folks over at ATT have given me, have allowed me some access to their closed beta, which I would like to explore and see how things have changed in the last 2 years. It has been remarkably 2 years since the demo went out, and I was thrilled with it. I think a lot of people were. The gameplay loop is very impressive. And I think I mean, I have some thoughts on how the game has developed in the last 2 years. I'll try to share what has changed so that everyone else is in the loop as well. We'll continue to be Tortuga Power at a shell corporation. Alright, so yeah, we're in the beta build. There's reverse engineering, that's a new thing which has been added, but the other things, which I'm just going to read off a list. One thing you may notice yourself right away is that the main game screen has changed. It's now fully 3D, and that's, I think, the biggest change. It includes the fact that you can now test drive your tank on a circuit, on a little course, and I believe that this is probably heavily inspired by Sprocket. I think that this team is interested in responding to feedback from the community, and probably this is just some Sprocket people have been driving the discussion about making it Sprocket-like. There's some interest, obviously, in being able to drive your tank. Not by me, I'm really focused on the Tycoon side of stuff. That's always been what's brought me to this game. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and dive into it. This will be probably a quick playthrough. One of the things they've also added, I guess I should go through this full list, is you can now build facilities at these different buildings. Then again, they're all 3D. I think you can left click, whatever it is, and spin around. And that, I really liked the 2D art. I didn't think it was bad at all. So this is kind of a wash for me. It's for people who enjoy the 3D side of things. I hope that this is interesting for you then. So when I was in the closed alpha, I tried to do a recording, and they didn't have the global stuff working. It's now back, but I haven't really played a lot with this, so I might be mucking up what the ideal strategy is, or what even like a non-terrible strategy is. I don't know my way around this, other than vaguely dealing with it back in the demo some 2 years ago. So besides the full 3D and the ability to drive your own tank, there's been some... Okay, the buildings... Yeah, I'm not sure what else. I mean, so basically, I guess... I'm missing what other things have changed. We'll just experiment for ourselves. Okay, so we are now a tank design company, and there are as of yet in the world, no demand for tanks, which is a precarious place, I think, to put yourself as a company. So the first order of business for us is going to be, I mean, I guess we don't really need to do this until the end of the month, but there's no way we're going to start working on something yet. So I'm going to go ahead and fire, let's see, how can we can hire 65 at a time. So let's just fire exactly that many so that, we'll fire 60, how about that? Just to reduce the impact on the budget. So predicted is 504. We'll fire 60 of these guys. It should still be 504. No, it's 510. So it did change. I'm not sure exactly how it works, if it's prorated or what. We do have loans we can take out up to 450,000 if we need. By the way, I have a suggestion, or maybe I would even say this is a complaint or a critical comment, is just if you wanted a loan at 100,000, clicking this, about 1,000 times is probably not the best way to go about it. There doesn't appear to be any way of getting a loan other than basically the max amount without just driving yourself absolutely nuts clicking this, many times. So hopefully they can add the ability to add a number directly or shift click or something. I don't know, maybe it exists. Anyway, so we fired a few people. We're down to 180. I think that'll be okay. We want to try to minimize our expenses, even to the point where there are these new buildings which we can build. You can see the maintenance office. This is going to reduce the maintenance cost of all buildings by 10%. But it costs 30,000 to build, and it itself costs 5,000 in maintenance. These buildings are very expensive, and I will even say I built the fire station I actually did a practice run for the closed beta, and I had a fire start in my production building after this fire station thing was completed, when there were no tanks being produced. So my production, I guess people were smoking behind the building or something, and they lit a fire. But anyways, it wasn't even during the production of tanks that this caught on fire. So, just note, word to the wise, be careful about these buildings. I'm not sure, I mean, statistically, it can just happen that you minimize your chances of something happening and it still happens. But that was my experience with that. We can reduce the cost of constructing more buildings by 20%, which is, you know, if you see the cost of these is 30,000 or whatever, this thing should pay for itself pretty quickly. But another note is you can only build 4. I don't know how to get beyond tier 1 for any of these things. Presumably it's something that when you play long enough you will get to, or maybe it's not yet implemented, I don't know. But I haven't gotten to tier 2 on any buildings. And in tier 1 at least you can only build 4 of these things. So it's, you know, you have to be a little careful about what you're going to be doing. I would say that the ones that are to me most worth it are the research building area. I want to take the ergonomics office because this increases the number of workers that can do research by 10. I don't really understand. I mean, this is an abstraction, right? I don't know if ergonomics is really going to help you put more people onto research, but it doesn't really matter. We will build this because having only 20 versus having 30 is just a 50% boost in your research capability. I also like to do the structure lab, mobility lab, and firepower lab because these each give you a 15% bonus in their particular field. And I don't really know what the advantages of the different components are, materials. I honestly, I don't. Okay, there's reduction of research costs for special nodes that unlock new types of fuels. So this is 10%, this is 15%. I don't know why you wouldn't just get the 15% for the whole category. I also, it's not exactly clear to me which one of these things would apply. Anyway, we'll go back and we'll keep it simple. This will end up effectively being a 15% boost to research because we're covering all 3 categories. And yes, the research has changed since the demo. I think I've seen some comments that people are very positive about it. I'm kind of indifferent, I guess, or neutral. I still don't know what tier 2 looks like. So I've never researched far enough to unlock tier 2, or I would have expected it even to be accessible before you. So maybe it's not implemented yet. I'm not sure. But there is a tier 2 that eventually should allow you to unlock tech. You know, eventually we should get to like World War II type tanks, which is super exciting. This game has so much potential. We just really hope that it's realized. And I will say just one thing, that after 2 years and just seeing only a 3D facelift on the game, you know, I'm ready for this game to be at the next step. I hope it gets there. It'll be fun. For our first tech, I think we'll do light side feed machine gun because the machine guns are going to end up being very important in the beginning of the war. Turns out, you know, anti-tank stuff is just not that critical. So let's make sure that our anti-personnel capabilities are very good. We'll start by researching this. We'll commit 20 people. That's all we can do for now. And we still have 60 engineers available. We probably don't need that many, but let's march our way. Let me hit Q. There are quite a few loading screens. I would say that, you know, bouncing between every one of these things is at least 1 loading screen, sometimes 2 if you do it wrong. If you go back to this main screen and then click something else. If you jump directly, it's just 1. So, you know, eventually you'll kind of figure out what you want to do. But engineering. Actually, we don't really need to do much engineering because all of the Mark 1 parts have been unlocked for us. We don't really have anything different to do. These are, you can see that the ones in the beige means it's an actual part. It's ready to go. We can actually commit it to a design. We can actually build a tank using this design. The blue is just a blueprint. I mean, funny enough, right? Nice little coloring there. So the blueprint stuff means that we'd actually have to engineer the part, make it into something physical, or give it a physical design that we could actually throw on a tank. But we have a part for everything we need for now, which means basically we're in good shape to design our first tank. Now, I may hold off, try to get, oops, wrong button. I may try to get that 1 machine gun upgrade. That would be really nice to get first. It's going to take 15 days. Well, you know what? No, I don't think we have time to do that. Let's just go ahead and design the first one right away. It's all ready to go. We'll add the engine. We'll add this track. Put the male sponsons in because that's the only one we have, which means we'll have a bunch of guns and only 1 machine gun, and it'll be the Lewis Mark 1. All that is, that's all well and good. Now we'll put a commander in. We really need a 5th point of commander, but we don't have that capability, so too bad, I guess. Put some gunners in. 2 of those. Looks like we're going to need a gunner mechanic for our next spot. Then we'll go 2 loaders and then 2 mechanics. And that fills us up very nicely. We're not over the mass limit, which is good. We still have about 2,500 we could work with. Volume limit is almost at the max, and we're getting close to the crew limit, but we don't need anybody else. Should be okay. Looks like there's going to be some defects in this thing, which we can't address right now. That'll be after we run it through the gauntlet at the training place. So we'll go ahead and assign this. This is going to take 60 engineers, 18 days to do. We'll go ahead and just build it, and hopefully it'll be good enough for our first contracts. One other aspect is we're going to need to acquire materials to build these things. So you can see we're at 30K, 25K, whatever, for iron, medium, carbon steel, all that stuff. Go to the warehouse, let's go to the supply lines, and just like it was in the demo, you can buy your goods from different places. The more remote places like Africa are going to have lower resource costs, but sometimes lower availability. Different places have different available numbers of availability for the resources. Even like Africa has a large amount of rubber available, just not the other items. But it's very cheap, but however, if we actually start to purchase it, we can see that the reliability is very low, and it takes 28 days for it to arrive. So this is like not a great option in a lot of ways because, it could be delayed, it may not get there in time, but it's cheap. So I'm actually still going to buy it. I'm going to max out almost everything except for the rubber, which we don't need all of that. This in theory will take 28 days to get here. The cost of these materials is 13,000. We don't need this. We can probably get our whole first order done with the materials we start with. So if you're a little more conservative financially, and that might be a good thing, you may not want to spend this money, but I will. And I think that actually this is one of the buildings that's worth upgrading. So it's Q, not escape. I always do escape, but it's Q to go back to the main area here. But if we click on the warehouse, there are some things which, like this loading safety is bonus to tank delivery reliability. This is tank delivery time, which is also very important. I think that those are critical, I would almost say. Now we can get them along with resource reliability by constructing this one, which I will do. And there's another one, the naval freight, which reduces the tank delivery time and also the resource delivery time. Since it's giving us this 15% bonus for both instead of just like a 25% bonus to one or the other. If we wanted to expand this to do the full 4 buildings we're allowed at Tier 1, I probably would focus on tank delivery and such. The resources, I feel like you have much more of a larger window to acquire them. And, you can always go with a more expensive option from like Europe or, one of the geographic locations which will give you higher reliability and quicker delivery times. It'll be more expensive. But sometimes you just need to make the tank contract, so you have to deliver it like right now. And to do that, you really want to make sure it's reliable and quick. Okay, so let's go back to the main screen and just make sure research is done. Engineering, we don't really have anything to do there for now. We fired some of the people. All of our engineers are hard at work. I think we're ready to advance some time. We'll just kick this up to 5x. It's going to ask if we want to go to the design bureau and design some stuff. Well, we are not designing anything right now, but I'll hit escape to just bypass that tutorial comment. It's good that they put it in there. Some government news following the early successes of tanks on the battlefields. I don't know what success tanks have had on the battlefield in 1914, July 6th, but we are a company again, not to beat a dead horse here, but we are a tank company. We must have had like an inside knowledge about the government, nearly just on the cusp of building tanks. What I'd like to roleplay it as is that we're probably like something like a tractor factory, and now we've gotten word from the government that they're going to want military stuff. We have some military contacts maybe, and so we've decided to pivot into tank production prematurely, obviously. Okay, so our resource order was delayed. This shows you that Africa is not very reliable. It'll be 14 extra days to get here. Like I said, we're in okay shape on that just because it's not likely that we're going to need those resources for the first thing. Alright, so they want us to build the sub-assembly line and the riveting workshop from our production hall. These are 2 other buildings, and we will build them. So let's see, sub-assembly line, this is going to improve production process by breaking the entire manufacturing cycle. So anyways, it's 25% reduction in manpower cost. Excuse me, sorry about that. Yeah, we'll definitely build this. Still, it's 30,000. We need to be a little bit careful, and they also want us to do the riveting hall, which decreases. I don't exactly understand this. It's reduction of production costs due to available riveting machinery required for production of structure tank components. I don't exactly understand this. I mean, I don't understand if it's reducing the time to build riveting components by 10%. If it's actually necessary to build the tank at all. I don't think so. Anyways, this is something which is a little confusing to me, the way the buildings work for the production hall in particular. All the other ones I think they're pretty straightforward. But yeah, that's important. But another thing we could be doing is the Design Bureau has a really nice design department is 5% reduction of tank design process time. No, we don't need that. We want the 5% reduction in resource costs of design tank. That could be good, but note that you are balancing 5,000 maintenance cost per month with a 5% reduction in the resource cost, which is more expensive. I don't know. Probably the 5%. I mean, obviously, it shouldn't be a building that would exist at all if the 5% isn't going to be a greater return than paying 5,000 a month anyway. Otherwise, it would be useless. This is another good one though. 5% reduction of the man-hour costs of design tanks. So that's another one to consider. Again, it's expensive though. 5,000, 30,000 for the building, and then 5,000 maintenance after that. So you may not want to do that. We talked about I briefly mentioned that there's going to be some defects. Well, I don't think it's worth getting the building yet, and I think it's actually pretty easy to go bankrupt. I have done so. Just building too many facility buildings, the maintenance on those is very expensive. So we can see right now building maintenance is already 56K. That's the most expensive recurring cost I have is just facility. I mean, just building maintenance. So yeah, we got to be very careful about that. We're just basically trying to keep things afloat. All right, research has been completed. The resources did arrive, albeit a little bit later than we were hoping, but that's okay. So let's go to the research and let's pick up on our next thing. RHA steel is very good. Lots of good components that are going to come with that. I also want to take a look at this one's actually pretty good too. This is also very good. Lots of little things. We could also do the engines, which has good things. And although these parts are like coming with the Tyler Twin 4-cylinder, which is meant for the Whippet. Whippet, let's see. I guess it's being structure. Yeah, there it is. The medium Whippet. But although those things, the engine is targeting that, the extra parts like the Mark II side brakes, which those can be used on our Mark I. So that there's definitely a benefit to the other parts that you're going to get here. I think we'll do that then. We'll just take this. It's going to be useful eventually for something else. The Whippet, namely, but it'll also be useful on the Mark I if we, I don't know if we get it in time. So we just designed a tank. It's going to be done in 3 days. But in theory, although we have no engineers idling, we can't actually do this. We have to wait for our engineers over at the Design Bureau to finish. But what we could do right now, otherwise, is start working on the improved anti-personnel weapons. So since we can't, we'll wait on that. I think it's also useful for us to just keep picking up more runs from Africa. It's cheap right now, but we don't otherwise need the resources. So since it's not critical, let's just pick them up on the cheap. And then at some point, how much rubber do we have? Yeah, we probably have enough rubber for like forever. At least for a while. And how much glass do we get? 2,000 or so. Yeah, we'll do one more order of 600, but that's probably all we're going to need. And this will be another 28 days. With low reliability, we'll see what happens. Otherwise, we will advance time again. I don't think there's that. So we're doing research. We've got 3 days on this design, so let's wait for that to finish. Then we'll throw it over to the proving grounds. All right, it's done. They also administration quarter to construct fire and medical. Yeah, so this is true. Technically, we could be building this fire station, which would reduce the fire. But I had fires anyway. I just wasn't because I had the unlucky roll. Probably, I'm discouraged by doing that. Anyway, we finished our design. Let's go over to the proving grounds. And let's throw this Mark 1, which already has 13 defects, but let's go ahead and test it anyway so we can figure out how to get rid of those defects. And that's the mechanic at work there. Once we get rid of those, then we'll throw it over to the production hall and start building them like crazy to get ready for our first contract. And yeah, we are gonna basically, on a wing and a prayer, hope that we get a contract in time before our company goes under. Alright, we have a Holt Manufacturing Company as, I guess this will be our competition. Yeah, we can purchase more raw materials. We've done so, so we'll hit escape and march on. Africa will be delayed by 14 days. Well, we certainly are not getting very lucky. We need to expand our production. Yeah, we could go to the administrative office and do that. I'd rather wait for after July to do that. So our predicted balance is 284. We're going to lose 100k. What in God's name is that too? Worker cost, engineer cost, and building maintenance. Looks like that's like 34 and 56. Which in theory is only 90k. What's the other... Oh, wait, yeah, what's the other recurring fee here? No, it is 90k. Okay, yeah, perfect. 374 down to 284. That's 90. So yeah, we have 90k in recurring fees just from workers, engineers, and buildings. Whew, be careful. And we actually have buildings that aren't completed yet too, which are just going to add to that. So this game is no joke, man. It really make you dig in financially. And we're playing on the medium difficulty. It's not even the hardest. It's not the easiest though. Alright, anyway, as a result, a new top executive has offered his services. Great. Let's go and hire him. What? You say you are available or not? Okay, yeah. So this guy's going to give reduction of maintenance for all buildings in your factory grounds, which is fantastic. And man-hour cost reduction for tank production. Yeah, two excellent things. We'll hire you. And you'll arrive in 5 days. We won't be starting construction before that, I guess. Proving ground still has 6 days. Is that true? Just double check that this hasn't completed already. I guess I can bring up the... Yeah, so it hasn't finished the proving grounds. We need to do that before we can start resolving those defects. The little horn up here is all the recent things, which I could have just checked instead. So design completed, but not the proving grounds yet. Then let's push forward. Okay, new resources did arrive eventually. You know, I mean, we might as well just keep dipping back into the well. I know that high carbon, medium carbon are very important. So let's continue to grab some of those. Maybe this is the last one I'll do from Africa for a while. So we'll take this 1600 of this. I mean, it's so cheap. I'll just take the 1000 more iron as well. May not need more than that anyway. And definitely the high carbon. Those are probably the ones that we need. I guess we'll get like 100 extra glass just for kicks. And rubber was looking pretty good. I mean, I can just go over, we'll order that, but I can also go over to the design screen. I guess it'd be the production screen at this point. And we can see what the cost of building that Mark 1 is. So technically the Mark 1 is going to cost 900 iron, 660 medium carbon, 223 rubber, so significantly less of that. A lot less of the high carbon steel as well. Very little glass, only 23. So we don't need much glass at all. Rubber, it looks like rubber and high carbon steel need to be in about equal quantities. In which case rubber, yeah, we could stand to get a little bit more. We'll want the high carbon steel obviously more when steel becomes a big thing. We just aren't really using it on our first tanks. But let's wait before we actually start producing that, since we want to resolve those defects first. Alright, engineering bureau to oversee in person the creation of a new tank. Yeah, so we know that. We've already created one, in fact. Twin engine research is done. Good. So let's get the next thing in line, which I don't know. Probably RHA steel. This is so good. Let's just go ahead and build that. So now we have 20. No, we're still not there yet. So how far away are we? Lots of little loading screens, unfortunately. 25, 666. So we're 666 away from getting the 15% bonus to the different techs. This is supposed to be a 30-day thing. Let's just keep an eye on this. So I'll do it. I'll go ahead and start it. And then let's see if this actually changes. I don't know if it'll affect our research once it's already underway, or if it'll only affect the next project. So in theory, this is 30 days. It should be 24 after these complete, if no change happens. Otherwise, it'll be, like 20, 21. We'll see. Let's see what happens. 3 days left on that, which will be the next thing, and then we'll start going back over to the design bureau. All right, administrator has arrived. We want him to go here because he does have man-hour cost reduction for tank production, so I think it makes sense for him to be set up here. But it should also be reducing our building maintenance. I mean, I still see 56K, which is what it was before. Maybe, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Well, maybe he needs a little bit of time to have his thing ramp up, his bonus. All right, so yeah, here we go. We can send produce specs to our customers. Logistics, yeah. But more importantly, the tank trials are done, which means we go over to Design Bureau. And we can go ahead and spend some money to solve some of these defects, and I think it's worth doing. So we have a defect penalty of -5 reputation, -5 to, looks like maybe crew safety. Crew something. The improvement is we get rid of our reputation penalty, and it still has a small penalty. But that takes 2,500. We're going to go ahead and do it. Same thing here. We'll amend that. We're just going to go through this entire list and just try to make this thing a little bit better. And that one actually looked okay. Now, yeah, this doesn't even have any effect on the performance. It just gets rid of people knowing about it. I guess we're just hiding the defect and not really resolving the underlying issue. This one doesn't even look like it's an issue. It's just, oh, there's a defect, but it has no actual effect. But it didn't cost anything to repair it, I think. Is there only 500? We'll just do all those just not to have the reputation hit. Scroll the way down to the bottom where we have 2 more. 2,500 to reduce the, yeah, this is, track reliability is less bad now. I mean, it says running gear right here, so yeah. Running gear reliability, that's what we tried to minimize the problems of. Okay, well, anyways, this thing's now ready to go. It's in the best shape that we can make it without designing a new one. I think that we're going to just preemptively start building these things. And, you know, it's crazy. Okay, 17 days left on that. And plenty of days left on that as well. Well, we don't have a contract quite yet, so I guess I can wait a little bit before we start doing this. With the design bureau done, though, I probably should have been building these new, or engineering these new parts. So, yeah, just because we researched it, not only do we have the blueprint, but it actually unlocks immediately one version of this. The actual, for this Hotchkiss itself, it's not typical. But I think that there is actually an improvement you can do to this one directly. Go from the Magazine Mark II to the Mark IV. This gives you the 1 extra damage and the 1 extra anti-ricochet. So I think it's just slightly better. It's not a big difference. But, you know, our engineers are sitting idle anyway. We might as well give them something to do. So let me go to this blueprint and just go ahead and select the Magazine Mark IV. It's only 1 extra kilogram. I think that we can stomach that. And this will only take 2 days for our 20 staff to finish. So it'll be done very quickly. And then we're probably going to want to jump over and build this engine next. Yeah, we haven't really been using the engineers a whole lot. I don't think that there's going to be a backlog for them, so we shouldn't have a problem getting through all the things we need to. But, you know, we could have been a little more prudent designing things the moment that they're researched. Yeah, so you can test drive the tank. I'm not sure if I'll show it off in this video or the next one or even at all, because it's just not really that interesting to me. Yeah, I really like the Tycoon side of this. The whole like game loop of building tanks to sell to the military under contracts and all that. That's very exciting. Reminds me a lot of Gear City. But, you know, this game is, I think, it's a little more approachable than Gear City. There's our Hotchkiss, so let's go ahead and build the engine. This is one of the rare ones where it actually doesn't start off with a design ready to go, so we have to engineer this. We can also go back and engineer the original one, since like these new things, the Flywheel Mark II, the Side Brakes Mark II, these are all things that we can add to our original one to make it better. A lot better, I think, even. But we'll start off by getting this one going. In fact, you know what? No, I'm going to do that exactly. I'm going to build this better. So we're at a Mark 1. We're going to get a lower mass, better road speed, much better road speed, higher agility, much higher cross-country speed, and better power unit. I mean, the transmission Mark II is just much, much better in every way except for maybe the cost to build it. No, even the cost to build it is cheaper. It is overwhelmingly better in every way, just objectively better. It's not worse in any way, and I think that might even be true of the Radiator Mark II. which, you know, to a degree makes sense. You know, you expect technology to be moving you forward. Get better side brakes, we'll get the better flywheel. So this is going to be a much improved engine, although it won't be one that we use on our original Mark 1, which is already almost ready for production. But we'll still just assign this and build the Daimler Knight Mark II, which will be much better if we decide to design a second tank. A second Mark 1. I guess that'd be a Mark 1, Mark II. Off we go. Alright, so facilities are starting to finish. Those are our research. Lots of them. Also got those things. Yeah, it did drop down to 21. Good, so it does instantly take effect. I'm very happy to see that. I like games that do that. Sometimes, you know, you don't get the bonus until you start a new tech, but not so here. And I'm happy to see. Alright, so we have resources which are coming eventually. I don't know if we're going to want to wait all this time to start producing. How long are you going to take, especially because we don't have that many workers? And these guys are, well, they are just sitting idle though, so, you know, maybe it would be good for us to start going. Let's start building some Mark 1s and see where that gets us. It's going to be a bit expensive to do this though. We can get 20 and, oh my god, 86 days is a long time. But that is because we have 2 extra buildings which are going to be coming to greatly reduce that. I think that we'll build 12 to start, and we don't have a contract to fulfill yet, so this is kind of like, hopefully this all works out. But look at our company has shifted gears towards tank production, and like there's not an option to like wait it out, right? We're going to be suffering this massive maintenance penalty. Well, we're all in. If there's no government contract who comes, or even if it comes and we don't win it, we're screwed anyway. We're bankrupt. So we're all in. We might as well. Oh god, there's a fire in the research bureau, and this happens surprisingly often, I would say. We'll repair this. You know, you might say that it's because I didn't get the fire station. I don't know, man. I mean, it's a random roll, and it probably wouldn't. It may not have happened. It sucks that it happens to our research too, which is, in my opinion, the most important thing to keep going. Anyway, but yeah, I had a fire in the production thing inactive last time I tried. You never know. Alright, now that we finished the other one, might as well do this. And this one already has all the best stuff highlighted, so we'll just go ahead and sign it. It's only going to take 5 days. That's not what I wanted. Alright, move forward. Research has been delayed, but that's okay. We'll suffer through it. Alright, engineering is completed on that. I don't even know what our most recent research was. Twin engine, yeah. So we don't really have anything else to do on the engineering bureau for now. So off we go. Yeah, managers. We did get one manager. I don't know if we have any others available. He's already been hired. Yeah, no, nobody else available. We'll probably have to end up taking a loan, since I don't see this working out well unless we get a contract very, very, very soon. Very soon. Anyway, we're all in. Like I said, it's very risky business what we've done. Now, this plus 10, did that reduce? I'm pretty sure it did reduce the time that we're going to need to finish these tanks. And it'll go down even more once we have this other one. But in the meantime, we'll just keep charging forward. Alright, rival tank design rumors. William Foster Company has completed a tank codenamed Hector. And it looks like it's going to be our competition for the upcoming contract. Well, God, we really need that contract. Fire damage has been repaired. Good, so we're back underway for research. Holt and Hornsby tractors studied. Well, it looks like the British are declaring they're closer to the idea of. Alright, it's good. We got this freight reduction. They're getting closer to the idea of putting tanks in their military. We need that to happen like pronto to keep our head above water here. Alright, new resources have arrived. Our projected balance is going to be negative for next month. Not great. We might be able to weasel out of that by firing some engineers. I think we probably should have done that. Let's go ahead and let's just do it. So we need the 30 for, we definitely need 30 for research, but I think 30 other engineers is going to be sufficient. Anyways, we can hire them back, I think. So let's go ahead and fire 20 of them. Yeah. So I don't know if this counts as happening before the month. Oh, look at our predicted balance is now 800. Perfect. We're just barely keeping afloat. All right. I mean, we really do need these tanks to sell, and sell quickly. Okay, ergonomics option. So now in theory we can, in one day, we can assign more people to our research, which is good. There it is. RHS steel's done. Sub-assembly line is finished as well, and now it's down to 12 days. Yeah, so our ability to build tanks is much better now. We have 7 already done, and in 12 days, I guess we'll finish the other 5. Well, I think we're ready. We're ready. We just need a contract now. God, we need a contract. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is... I won't recommend this if you're thinking about going into business in something which has no demand, no market currently. I don't know. A lot of people would probably rightfully try to dissuade you from doing that. All right, let's start this, though. We can get 30 on it. Takes 8 days. Good. Go ahead and start. Better to have some, like, hope of making money in the near future before you just invest your life's, I don't know, everything into something. All right, that actually happened really quick. So what do we want next? Could go with the female. This is actually going to be very good in some ways. This requires riveting focus. Okay, so that does require riveting focus. We will need it for some things. It's good to see that. What do we want to do, though? I might... Actually, getting these tracer rounds allows you to add little extras to your tanks. I think those are useful. So let's do that. It'll take 8 days. Start on that. 3 days, and then we'll be done with this construction. I mean, I think in for penny and for pound here, our predicted balance is already going to be negative, and that means if we're absolutely going to have to take a loan, there's no two ways about it. I'm just going to go ahead and start building more tanks. My understanding is you probably can get 14, is it like 12 or 14 is the starting contract? And I think we can upgrade that to 18. Look at, we're just all in anyway. So let me go ahead and build another 6. We'll sign that. And that takes 90,000. It didn't take that money directly, though. I mean, we're up Poop Creek anyway, right? Yeah, we're predicted balance. So if you end the turn, if this predicted balance is negative, it probably should give you a bigger red warning about this, that you're about to lose the game. If you go negative, you lose. We will instead go ahead and take a loan. So yeah, we'll just take the max loan. I would like to pay this off faster because I basically just want this for a very short amount of time. We'll just take a 2-year loan. I don't know what the interest, if it'll be different. So it doesn't say it's going to be different. One would hope that taking a smaller one would decrease the... No, yeah, it doesn't seem to increase or decrease anything. Well, I mean, if that's the case, I'll still stick with 2 years. I think if we haven't paid this back in 2 years, we're probably in bad shape anyway. So, all right. So the loan amount, I guess that includes the interest. Is that what's going on here? Monthly payment is pretty darn high. 22,000. We're still afloat, right? Please tell me we're afloat. Yeah, predicted balance down to 440. Ouch. Please let us get a contract quickly. Oh god, a fire in the production hall. Well, anyways, we just haven't had much luck there. I'm going to call the video to a close here. We'll go ahead and pick this up in the next one. Consider pressing the thumbs up, commenting, sharing the video. Thanks for watching, and take care.